Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Advisor. This is for all of you high performing ladies out there. So, our guest today is Nicola Salter. She is a high performance coach, and she is also the unstoppable catalyst behind Aroma One Inc. She has a podcast called Your Unique Brilliance, and she has guided 18,000 plus leaders and creatives to help them redefine themselves. So she helps women just like you out there redefine themselves in the leadership role. So today, expect some rapid fire insights on mindset resets, stress proof success, and scaling with ease because really, when this woman's in your corner, the results are the new normal. They're amazing. And today, we're going to get into what it means to lead boldly. So, lead with power, purpose, and basically, essentially, just take your damn power back. So, I'm super excited to introduce her to you guys. Before I do, I just want to send a thank you to Spreaker and iHeartRadio for your sponsorship. And to our audience and fans, please do not forget to like and subscribe before you leave today because without you, we cannot continue to grow. So it's really nice to have you here, Nicola, and really nice to
Hi.
meet you. How are you doing today?
I'm it's really good to meet you too, and lovely to be here today. I'm excited.
Yes, me too. Me too. Where are you coming in from?
So I'm coming in today from Los Angeles, but
Okay.
I'm originally from London, England, so that's probably the accent you can hear.
Oh, there, you just, yeah, you put two and two together for me. There we go.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing. When did you move to the United States?
So I came here about 28 years ago. I literally landed here not really knowing anyone and set up my business and grew from there. So it's been quite an adventure, to put it mildly.
No kidding. You must have
Yeah.
tons of stories.
I have hundreds of stories and I'm currently putting them into a book right now, which we'll talk about on another interview, hopefully. And I just love being here. I miss London, but I had some great experiences back there, which I bring here now. And I used to work in corporate London. So I mix the combination of working in the corporate world now with the coaching and mentoring that I do with women. But I have the holistic approach. So I'm not just corporation. It's all about mindset empowerment and all the holistic tools to get you there.
I love that. What's the biggest difference between London and the United States, do you find, in terms of leadership or people?
And people in general, I think that especially in California, because I know California pretty well now rather than the rest of the states, so I can only speak from that experience. I would say there's an openness, there's a motivation, there's a confidence here that isn't quite the same back in London. They've got different qualities back there, but I love the confidence here and that kind of the sky's the limit approach here. Anyone can do anything that they want here, where there seem to be a few more blocks and boundaries back in the UK to accomplish at that level.
I had in my first apartment a London phone booth,
Oh, did you?
like a makeshift one. Yeah, because I just loved it. So with the red phone booth, yeah, it was just
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
I,
not a
I was
real
always
size
intrigued.
one. Was it a
Yeah, not
full
a real
size?
one, not
No.
a real one.
It'd be like a shower. Yeah.
Literally, right?
Did you love the red
Something
phone
about it.
booth?
I
Yeah,
did.
something symbolic.
Yeah, for sure. So I love the topic we're going to talk about today. And, this day and age, like women are just like literally taking over. Like, I swear to God, we're just like branching out and, you know, being something that we weren't in 20 years ago, really taking our power back. And that's what we're going to talk about today, taking
Mm.
our power back. So, what does that even mean? What does that mean to you?
Well, today, taking your power back, everyone
Mhm.
talks about taking your power back now. I what I believe it's reconnecting to that part of you that you've forgotten and that has been drained out of us through our upbringing, through culture, and getting your power back means remembering who you are and those parts of yourself that you've put on hold or you've forgotten.
Yeah, it's almost like maybe an unlearning, right? Like we're
Hmm.
born and then there's all these things that kind of attach to us in these meanings and then one day you're like, who am I? And then you go down that path.
Hmm.
That's what it means
Yeah,
to me anyway.
it does. Yeah, I think you're right. It is definitely an unlearning that you've got to kind of rewire your brain around that you're equal, you can do, like what's your why, and you're as important as everybody else. And you're not here just to be of service to others. I mean, we are partly to that, but you've also really owning your responsibility of feeling fulfilled as well. That's very important for women. And we forget
Yeah,
that.
gosh, we do. What are some examples of, owning your power? And so what does owning your power mean? Like, give us
So
an example of that.
owning your power is really when you're saying yes and you mean no.
Mm.
No, that's giving your power away. So owning it means if you mean no, say no, owning your power then. Um, Waiting for permission, if you are constantly waiting for permission to take the next leap or step, you're giving your power away. So owning your power would be taking that leap and that step, not seeking permission for it. And this is part of the leading boldly um, topic that I wanted to talk about today is that owning your power and leading boldly, whether at work or leading yourself or leading your home life, is about owning your power every step of the way. And that doesn't mean being bossy and being controlling. It means owning your truth.
Yeah, and that's hard to do.
Hmm. It can be. It depends on many numbers of things, but um self-help, having a good friendship circle, self-help books,
Hmm.
coaches, that can help you start stepping into connecting with your power and owning it.
Yeah, I love that you said like stop waiting for permission because like we're in control of our lives. So essentially, I know what I want, I know what I need. And so if I'm waiting for person A on my left to tell me it's your turn, you can go now. And I sit there waiting for 3 hours and he or she never says it because she's in her own movie or world. Then I'm going to be standing there and like leave literally there. They have my power, right? So
Yeah.
that can be kind of attached to any scenario. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's not about forcing. It's about the choice that you have and it's honoring yourself and protecting your peace as well when you own your power, or empowerment, as I like to call it. Yeah.
Do you remember the day, the moment, the time of your life that you took your power back?
Uh, yes. If we're talking about leadership and leading boldly, I was at work. I was in the corporate world in London, and it was all very male dominated. And I was quite young at the time. And I was the only woman in the room. And back then, that was pretty unusual at the leadership level. And all the guys were all talking and all laughing, and I kind of felt I had to fit in with the guys. Um, then I realized that I didn't really have to. And in that moment, I'm thinking, why am I wearing my bright red power suit to be heard and be seen and fit in? Why am I having to do all the fitting in? And within me, a little bell rang and just said, you know what, you don't have to be doing this. You are who you are. Speak up, and speak slowly and clearly and bravely. And I disagreed with a point that was being made. And I remember disagreeing, and in that moment, I felt really good. And that's when I got my power back. I didn't mind.
Yeah, oh my God, I can't imagine. You're right. It was like rare for a woman to be in a power position. It was all like men. And I can't imagine that. That must have been a really powerful feeling. But it was just like, you know what? I don't care what you think. I'm just gonna do me and
Hmm. Yeah, and actually I got a lot of respect that time for speaking up and disagreeing. because I really stuck to my values on that one and they all tried to talk me out of it. And I was like, no, no. And it ended up that I was right, which was interesting. Not that I needed to be right, but it was an affirmation for myself that it was good I'd stuck to my values and stayed the track, not
Yeah.
fallen in what they thought. Yeah. So that was one moment. There's been a lot of different moments of small little bells going off where you're like, oh yeah, I'm back in my power. I'm here. Mhm.
Yeah. Oh my God. You mentioned boundaries, like the respect that they gave you when you did that. And that's something people seem to be afraid. Like we're all scared of each other, right? So when we don't speak our minds and what we need, then we're like literally holding that all in. But it's like, why are we so afraid of each other? I literally just asked that like to somebody the other day because what's we in our minds we think something terrible is going to happen. Like I know,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know the full answer. My senses with my experience and what I've seen for people is that we're afraid of what others might think of us. We're afraid of being wrong. We're afraid of not being perfect. We're not thinking big enough, maybe imposter syndrome, you know. And so as we all start to grow and evolve as women now that we have more opportunities available to us, it's dropping that fear around what others might think and really being true to your purpose. When you're true to your purpose and you're on track, you don't have quite so much fear because you truly believe in what you're doing. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So how do you teach women how to own their power?
It begins with actually, it's interesting. It begins with inviting them to look at what their biggest obstacles are emotionally. It's really where we start, it's removing or ironing out some of the wrinkles first, not literally the wrinkles, but the wrinkles of self-doubt and low self-esteem, lack of confidence, and starting there because it's interesting. You cannot really start making a change unless you've addressed the negative that you're holding on to,
Mm,
because the brain will keep coming back over and over again to what's wrong with me rather than what's right with me. And so we have to retrain the brain to a new belief pattern, really, to get it to understand that this is an experience, a story you've been telling yourself. And then we introduce tools to help you start rewiring the brain to a new story. And it's really interesting. You can tell the brain anything. So I start with that approach first. And then we start moving into, okay, let's define your purpose. Let's define why you're here and create a soul's mission statement for what that looks like. And now let's move into um, where you're at today, what you want to create, what's in alignment with your values. So these are all like the foundational pieces that build the confidence for then a woman to feel her power, to start feeling that purpose coming in, because we're doing this groundwork first. I feel that if you jump straight in and expect to go and accomplish your goals in, 3 or 4 weeks, it's a very unrealistic goal to have because you're not actually dealing with the inner world of what's going on within you.
yeah, absolutely. So how long does the transformation typically take? Or is it different for each person?
Yeah, I know everyone's different. It depends on the experiences, what they're carrying with them. And usually, for any transformation to take, just across the board, you're looking at anything between 70 to 254 days for the brain to make a change, transformation. When I'm working with women, of course, we don't always have that time. Women are very multi-skilled. They've got so much going on.
Mhm.
So I've taken it down to a 3 month window, which allows us enough time to identify and work through the emotional changes that need to be made, and then also build out a new direction, working with them to create that impact that they desire, and then how to go and do that. So 3 months isn't actually very long, but it's an incredible process in terms of what they receive at the end of it.
Oh my gosh. What is some of the similarities that you find with different women leaders that they struggle with?
Well, most of them have a hard time with leading boldly. They just get very stuck in insecurity and self-doubt. And I've worked with some top leaders who have fabulous organizations, and you would think, oh my God, top of their game. And yet I'll see them privately and they're just racked with worry, anxiety, then they're not good enough. And that someone else is going to come in better than them. And yet they've created so much. So insecurity is still top of the list.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
it's unbelievable.
that's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is. And, sometimes I sit there in my role thinking, geez, Louise, I've got this amazing woman sitting in front of me, and I'm hearing some of these gaps and lack of clarity that she's experiencing. And then sometimes I can go into a little bit of imposter syndrome. So I have to catch myself with like, oh, who am I when she's gone and done all this? So it's a cycle that we all go through, and all of us do it. It's
All of
catching
us
yourself,
do.
yeah, and stopping yourself. Yeah.
That's incredible. I was speaking to a meditation coach who works with celebrities and kings and queens, and he was mentioning how like they're just like everybody else, they're just like it's just interesting dynamic to have a conversation with them, and they have all the same worries and insecurities, issues like, oh, I gotta pick up my daughter, how am I gonna get it, like all the same things. We're just all human, right?
Yeah.
But it is real, and those things are true, and they happen to all of us and the best of us, and at the best of times, at the worst of times.
Well, yeah, I mean, being from England as well, my teacher used to work for the Queen, who taught me all my tools, and he would say the same, that it was just astonishing to watch, really, what they were all doing, which is exactly the same as what we were all doing at work, the same mistakes, same thought patterns, and you always just think that's going to be so much more elevated, and of course, we're all the same, which is good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is good.
yeah,
Yes, we gotta strip the pedestals from each other.
yeah, we certainly do. We certainly do. And I think it's so important that you know that what you're doing, it's not what you do, but it's really why you're doing it is important to remember. It's like, what is your why? Why are you here today? Why do you do what you do? Why do you love it? And it's the boldness comes from the fulfillment that you get from why you do what you do. Yeah.
So then let's talk about leading boldly. What does that mean?
Well, that's part of this. This is really, part of what we've been talking about is it's really knowing who you are and not hiding. It's like identifying where you keep hiding parts of yourself or where have you abandoned yourself, and which part of you wants to come back. And why have you lowered your voice in certain parts of your life if you're at work and leading? Is it to fit in? Is it to be quiet and not be heard? So leading boldly is really coming from that beautiful place of not leading perfectly and not quietly. Um, it's leading as the person you're supposed to be because you have your unique gifts. You are you. Each of us has a set of gifts that others want to receive.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head before. When you're in alignment, that confidence just comes naturally because you feel good. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing, what you've been put on this earth to do.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it's hard for us to find that and really putting your hand on your heart and breathing deeply, speaking your truth of what truth do I need to speak today? What is it I need to speak about today? And where am I ready to reclaim my energy? Where am I going to reclaim that? And what's one action that I can take this week that's bold? What's something I could do that's a little bit out of my comfort zone, really?
Yeah, little, and then the more you do it, the easier it gets. Like it's gonna feel scary at first, right? And then as
Totally.
you continue, then it just gets easier. And then suddenly you're like, oh my God, who is this person?
That's right. And you're absolutely right, Lisa, because when you take, confidence comes from taking baby steps, and it's all about taking action. And you might think, oh, it's a very small thing that I'm doing today. You might decide to, um, let's say you drive to work a certain direction every day. You might change that direction. You might go a different way. You might see new things as you take a new route. Um, it's taking one small step to build that confidence, and that helps you stop playing small, basically. And you can start leading from your truth then, where there's no fear. Um, so really being in your boldness, I mean, we're all meant to be bold, to be honest. All of us are meant to be bold. It's just that some of us have had more experiences that have stopped us from doing that. And ultimately is breaking free from that need for perfectionism.
Yeah, absolutely. So what advice would you give ladies out there listening to this on how to even start, reconnecting with themselves?
Well, like I said earlier, I think, what truth do I need to speak? Where do I need to reclaim my energy? Where do I keep giving away my energy? I mean, are you spending too much time helping everybody else
Mm.
so that it's easier to forget yourself so you don't have to focus on you? I know a lot of us do that. Start reeling that in, start making yourself your main point of focus. Even if you have kids, you need to still be that center of focus because you're the one doing, 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 and going, going, going. So it's, what do you need for that? How do you do your self-care, for example? Um, what are your non-negotiables, right? What are you ready to really stand up for and not let go of? Um, and also just identifying yourself as self. What do other women come to you for? What strengths do you have? I mean, are you a good listener? Reminding yourself of those qualities and strengths that you have and why people come to you helps to also build that connection to your boldness. Reminds you, oh, this is good, people. It's not ego. It's like appreciating your strengths and what you have. So I would say for most of us, we silence um, parts of ourselves to feel safe in leadership. When we're in leadership, we feel like we might be judged or criticized, and we don't want to be that. We want to be part of the group, the team. We want to be with the other girls, so we'll silence that part of ourselves that is really wanting to lead, and just so that we fit in. So look at where you might be fitting in just to please everybody else.
Yeah. Oh my God, absolutely. What do you say to the women that are, I know a lot of my friends who have kids, and I always tell them you have to go to a yoga class, go for a walk, like let's hang out. And they're like, I feel guilty. Do you find a lot of like when you're coaching these women and they're new to prioritizing themselves, do you find there's a lot of guilt there or that feeling of guilt? Like I can't leave the house. So how do you deal with that? How do you flip the script? What's the
Yeah,
mindset trick?
it is a mindset trick, and a lot of times women feel guilty about spending in time with me, investing time when they should be with the kids. And I how I work is I say, look, you're going to spend some time with me, and what you're going to learn and discover will last you for the rest of your life. And you will share this probably with your kids and family members because the tools I give are across the board. You don't have to be in business just to use these tools. And so that's how I, encourage women to come join me and to learn and to make the changes they want to. And it's only 3 months, 3 months compared to the rest of your life, and you're going to make this change and transformation that you'll see that will accelerate your journey without you trying to have to figure it out. And so it saves time and money, basically, having someone to work with you. And so that mindset um, recalibration, if you like, is to help them see the value of themselves, the impact that they make in the world, and to ask them, what is this worth to you? You know, if you don't think this is worth anything to you right now to make this change, okay. But 5, 6, 7, 8 months down the line, you may be still in the same rabbit hole that you are today. So a lot of it also comes down to a woman's decision when it's the right time for her. You know,
Hmm.
it's really is that, when does she feel it? When does she say I've had enough, I need to make a change, or I want to make a change? It's her own timeline. And oftentimes for women, we will wait till it gets really bad before we make a
Hmm.
change. We hang on in there. We can do it. We get all, self-sacrificing, and we can do this, we can do this. And then we'll get burnt out or overwhelmed. Something big will come into our lives where we just can't function. And then we know we have to make a change. So I just hope women start to change before that discombobulation starts.
Absolutely. It's funny how that works. We always, us as women, we put so much pressure on ourselves to be everything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's impossible.
Absolutely, it's impossible.
Yeah. And we're not helping each other either by competing with each other, thinking that we can. So if we all start just, you know, lowering that competitiveness that we have between us and comparing, and being on each other's side, especially in the workplace, um, I think it will do all of us the world of good. So we don't feel that we have to keep going because Jane Doe is still doing all this,
Yeah.
but we don't know what's going on in Jane Doe's life. It might not all be beautiful and sparkly. There might be other things going on that she needs help with.
Yeah, absolutely. So you and our very own Stacey Chalemi are doing a master class. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I'm excited. Next week, it's the 11th of June at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Stacey and I are going to be doing a free class that we would love everyone to join, about leading boldly, about owning your power, your purpose, and your possibility. It's a no fluff session, and it's designed to give you some tips and hints about leading with purpose, owning your voice, taking bold action, without waiting for permission. And we want to help you just reclaim your voice, break free from, that lovely perfectionism that we talk about, and lead with more of that bold authenticity in your life, and learn to lead from your true self, leading yourself first before you lead others. And I'm also going to be asking on the masterclass for people to claim one bold breakthrough they want to make this year. And I'll be offering free sessions out to people. They'll get a free handout, and then we'll be doing sessions with them after the masterclass. We'll set up times, and I'm going to take people through the breakthrough they want to accomplish and how they can do that individually. So we'll get a chance to actually do some one-on-one work as well. And it's going to be great. Really excited.
Awesome. So remind everyone how to sign up for that.
So if you go to the Redefine Yourself masterclass.com dash lead dash boldly, you'll be able to sign up there. You can also, if you want, email me, which is Salter, Salter, Nicola, Nicola, at gmail.com. And you can find me on LinkedIn. The actual link is on LinkedIn as well, under my name, Nicola Salter, and on Instagram too. So signing up is free. And again, it's 11th of June, which is next week, next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time.
Amazing. And we'll make sure to put those links in the show notes as well.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
So, Nicola, what are some things you want to leave the audience with today based on our conversation about leadership and leading boldly and owning your power?
I think like a nugget of wisdom, I would like you to think about is, where in your life do you feel the most disconnected? Because that will be the first step where you can start to make a change. So where in my life do I feel the most disconnected? and sit with it, be in the discomfort of it. No one likes being in that place, but that's really where the rawness is, where you will start thinking, well, I don't like that. I want to make a change. So, where in my life do I feel the most disconnected from myself?
Amazing. Well, I'm excited for that masterclass too. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you. Hopefully, you can make it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was amazing to meet you today and to get to chat with you about all of this stuff that, I'm so passionate about. And I know so many women just have this burning desire to like just bloom like a butterfly. They
Mm.
just don't have the right tools. So thank you for helping women do that. That's beautiful.
That's my pleasure. And thank you for today. I appreciated it.
Amazing. And to our audience, thank you for tuning in. What are you struggling with? What is something that you need to change right now? Um, Please leave any comments or questions in the show notes, and we will be sure to get to them. You just heard from Nicola Salter, and I am Lisa Urbanski. I'm with the advisor with Stacey Chillemi. Thanks for tuning in. Bye for now.
Thank you.